to a solo version of Mark My Words. I am your host, Mark Schmidt, and today I want to talk a little bit about an app that has had a real impact on my life, and it goes well beyond just putting posts up or finding a job or having a recruiter message me, and that would be LinkedIn. So I think to a lot of people who have not immersed themselves in the LinkedIn world, they may still view the app as just a place to post your resume, post your experience, maybe have some connections that are close to you that you've worked with, colleagues, bosses, maybe have a recommendation or two on there. But it has become so much more to me than just a place to make contact with a recruiter or to get found for a job. It has become a community, and it has become a place where I know I'm going to be supported no matter what I put out as content, or no matter what I may have to say or comment on. I mean, that's obviously within reason, of course, but I feel like since I left my big corporate broadcasting job, I was with a company for 10 years. They went through a restructuring, wound up merging with another company a few years after the package that they offered me. I've talked about this a lot in regular episodes of Mark My Words, and basically that was like a fork in the road, a turning point for me, and I've since then have wound up just contracting around the Washington D.C. area in my field. And I know initially I didn't really know what to do because I wanted to do something that felt fulfilling to me in the same way that my previous job had made me feel fulfilled. And I even wanted to take that up a notch and do something that was a little more for me, in that it represented me and my personality and my creativity. So I wound up just getting immersed in the blogging community. I know I found a ton of great people to network with on Twitter, and that was a lot of fun. I grew tremendously from those experiences, but it was when I started promoting my blog, I kind of took a leap of faith and promoted my blog on LinkedIn. And from there, I started finding entrepreneurs and other experts and like-minded people looking to grow and to network and promote their content. And I stumbled across a group called LinkedIn Local in the Baltimore area, and they were actually holding monthly meetings and just networking events where you could meet people and just network. And they had an hour where they would have an expert of some sort or just somebody within the network in general get up there and speak. And it was all very new to me. I've been to networking events in the past and was like, okay, I'm not really sure about this. These events, you tend to get kind of lost in the shuffle, and it just kind of turns out to be something where you're watching people network instead of actually doing the networking, or you just don't get a lot of value. But I actually had people closely involved with this particular event I was going to. They're like, hey, look, it's like family. It's like, we're all friends, and it's a great environment. It's very positive. And me being jaded, like, I can be. I was like, oh, yeah, whatever. But there was something about it that they were putting in that extra effort. And it made me want to go. And the topic of conversation during the speaker portion of the event was about creating content and creating content on LinkedIn. And the speakers that were speaking that particular night, I know one or two of them wound up being people I wound up actually becoming decent friends with. They all were just like, just do it, just go post whatever on LinkedIn, just talk about yourself, just do it. And so that made me feel encouraged on top of how welcoming and open everybody was to me. And I just never really felt alone during that experience. And it motivated me and inspired me to start posting content on LinkedIn. And I guess the reason I'm doing this episode is not to just tell the story of how I started posting content on LinkedIn, but it changed my life. It made somebody who was born with a cleft lip and palate go from feeling like, no, being behind a mic, being in front of a camera, that's not for me, to holy moly, I can't get enough. I love telling my story. I love engaging with people. I love networking and communicating. And it went from getting positive feedback from people when I did post this video about whatever I was talking about 3-4 years ago, to me creating a podcast and me doing what I'm doing today. If you would have asked me 5 years ago, when I was leaving that corporate job and going into the unknown, if I would do something like this, even though I felt that in my gut and felt like, wow, getting out there and speaking and doing stuff like that really appeals to me, I would have said, oh, no way, I wouldn't be caught dead putting myself out there like that. But this is what I have found you will get on LinkedIn. Let me just say, no social media platform is perfect. You're always going to have a few bad eggs in the batch who may say something that may, affect your confidence or your self-esteem for a moment or two. And believe me, I still have my experiences and my moments on social media that make me feel like, oh, why am I doing this? And it's all about just being in touch with who you are and knowing the value you have to offer and what you bring to the table, and just being that self-assured to bounce back and put those experiences behind you. And putting that aside, I feel like LinkedIn has just been such a supportive community as far as me getting what I need to see in myself what I have to offer, and to build up that confidence and self-esteem. And maybe you won't find it on LinkedIn. Maybe you'll find it in another community or another social media app. Who knows? But my point is, I know LinkedIn, as far as being a ground zero, so to speak, to build up my confidence, to make content, to play around with topics, and just, play around with formats, and to get that feedback, to get feedback that's usually, I would say, 99% of the time, not something that's going to affect you negatively or hurt your confidence, but actually lift you up and help build you up and give you the constructive feedback you need to grow. LinkedIn has been that place, and to go to the LinkedIn local events, which I can't wait to go back to as the pandemic slowly but surely comes to an end here. I mean, this is what it's all about. And this is basically just an endorsement for LinkedIn, to get on LinkedIn and to take that leap of faith and create content. Think about what you're about. Think about what you have to bring value to other people. Go out there and just start making that content. Start finding those LinkedIn local events, network, get to know the people in your network, and allow it to take you to another level. Allow it to take you to your full potential, because I feel like just by taking those steps in my life, it is really taking me to places that I've always dreamed of. And now I have a podcast. I'm meeting all these fantastic people doing amazing things, and it is just one big ball of positivity. And I really can't endorse it enough. And if you want my advice on making content, just go do it. Just form an idea, get some kind of basic idea, and just go for it. And with that, I am going to end this episode and hope that you take the advice to just make that first video, post that first poll, write out that first big thought on LinkedIn, and just start networking, start bringing value, and start putting your wisdom out there to the world. So, I'm Mark Schmidt. This has been a solo episode of Mark My Words. Have a great day, and I will talk with you all very, very soon. Bye.